So I think we should ban assault weapons as well as large magazines.
First, let me clarify that when Kirsten Gillibrand says she wants to ban assault weapons, she means AR-15s. Unfortunately, a lot of politicians like Gillibrand think the AR in AR-15 stands for assault rifle, which it doesn't. It stands for Arma Lite Rifle. But she doesn't care because her job right now is to prove to the world how anti-gun she is, because she's like a dying fish on land, flipping and flopping all over the place, struggling to get some air for her failing campaign. And another thing, a large capacity magazine ban is nothing but a hustle to get the ball rolling downhill to limit the amount of bullets you can have in your gun. Basically down to nothing. Hell, New York started with only 10 rounds, then at one point tried to limit it to 7 rounds. Then there will be another shooting where the guy uses 7-round magazines, and then she'll get on TV and say, we now need to limit the capacity to 5 rounds. Don't believe me? Just look at the UK. They banned guns and now they're trying to ban knives. People, this will never stop. They'll keep going until it hits 0. And then they'll say, see, no one is coming for your guns.
And as part of passing that ban, do a buyback program across the country so that those who own them can be compensated for their money that they spent. But I think both of those ideas are strong.
She thinks she's slick. She's calling it a buyback to soften what it really is, which is a mandatory buyback. Look, personally, I think voluntary buyback programs are useless. But hey, if you want to sell your guns to the government for a Chili's gift card, by all means, do you, boo-boo. But what she's talking about is not a voluntary buyback. It's a mandatory buyback.
I think having mandatory buyback combined, well, you don't want people to retain them, because if you make them illegal, you don't want to grandfather in all the assault weapons that are all across America. You would like people to sell them back to the government so that you can make sure people who shouldn't have access to these weapons couldn't have them.
See, I told you. How do you people not understand that a mandatory buyback is a gun confiscation? The last time a government tried to do that, we started a revolutionary war. Calling it a buyback doesn't change what it is. You can call it a gun recycling program for kids that can't read good, and it'll still be a gun confiscation. She doesn't want to say the word mandatory or confiscation because she knows, and I know, and you know, that forcing people to sell back your guns is unconstitutional as hell. But she also knows that unconstitutionality doesn't matter if you're willing to give up your rights voluntarily. So she says stupid shit like, we would like for you to sell your guns back to the government. But what she tries to avoid answering is what happens if I say, no thank you very much, Ice Queen. I'm going to hold on to my AR and you can kick rocks.
The next prong of that is, if you're supportive of a mandatory buyback, then the next step is that you then criminally prosecute those who don't sell them back, which could result in jail time for those individuals. Are you supportive of that?
Shout out to the interviewer for holding her feet to the fire by trying to make her say what she means. Then again, it is CNN, so it's likely they're only doing that to Gillibrand because the Democratic Party and the CNN have been buddies for a while now, and the Democratic Party already knows who they want to run for the president, so they're probably trying to undermine her campaign much the same way they did Bernie Sanders. Bless his wrinkled little old heart.
So the point is, you don't want people using assault weapons. And so the point is, if you are arrested for using an assault weapon, you're going to have an aggravated felony. I mean, the whole point is, when you make it a crime to own an assault weapon, then if you are found using it, that would be the issue. So it would just be part of your law enforcement in terms of what you have access to.
She's dancing and twerking around the question so much, she might as well drop a Hot Girl Summer Gun Control music video. So basically, if I go to the range and shoot my AR-15 or use my AR-15 in self-defense, I'm going to get charged with the felony and go to jail. That buyback program ain't sounding so voluntary now, is it?
In the same way that you need to have a certain certification, a certain approval to have a suppressor on your weapon. That's why the NRA is desperate to make it easier to get suppressors where you don't actually have to get a specific license or certification to have that suppressor. So,
what is she talking about? There is no suppressor ban or suppressor buyback program. I have suppressors. A lot of people have suppressors. They're absolutely not the same. I don't need a license or special certification to own a suppressor. Suppressors aren't hard to get. They're just expensive because I'm charged a $200 tax on top of the price of the suppressor. Then I have to wait damn near 6 months just so the ATF can tell me what my instant background check already told me when I bought the gun that I'm going to use the suppressor on in the first place. Gillibrand is a fraud, throwing around gun terms to make it seem like she knows what she's talking about. She's a gun control city girl, bouncing all over the place, not supporting gun rights one minute when it's to her advantage, and then bouncing back over to the gun control side when that becomes more advantageous.
They care about money. They are funded by a lot of people, including gun manufacturers. And gun manufacturers care more about gun sales than the safety of families.
Nah. You don't get to try to use gun manufacturers as a scapegoat, hot girl Gillibrand. You're talking about us, the people, because we're the ones buying the guns. So if we don't buy them, manufacturers don't make money. And if we were buying guns, that means we don't agree with you and your gun control policies. So what you're essentially saying is that we, the people, don't agree with you, and as a result, we don't care about the safety of our families. The same people who buy these guns to protect the safety of their families. From where I'm sitting, any politician pushing for government confiscation of our guns does not only not care about the safety of our families, they're a traitor to the Constitution and this country.
You have perhaps the most unique perspective on guns of anyone in your party running for president because of the dramatic shift that you've made. I mean, you had an A rating from the NRA until 2010. Then when you became a member of the Senate, it changed to an F. You were representing upstate New York before you were a senator. You've talked about being, in your words, embarrassed by some of your own stances on guns. I wonder if you think, Senator, that it is that prior A rating or the amicus brief you wrote to the Supreme Court in the Heller case calling to overturn the handgun ban in Washington, D.C. Do you think that part of that is contributing to your struggle to rise in the polls in the Democratic primary?
No, not at all. In fact, I've had a proud F rating for a decade and have been leading on this issue. In fact, the last time we had votes on this, it was my bill to end federal gun trafficking that got 58 votes, only 2 shy of the 60 it needed. So I've been a vocal and effective leader on ending gun violence for a decade, and voters know that about me.
Whoa, hold on there, hot girl Gillibrand. These are natural rights we're talking about, not your current or former dating habits. You don't get to treat our rights like it's the modern day dating market and monkey branch back and forth between being pro-gun and anti-gun just so you can get elected. You're basically up there on national television telling the world how ideologically empty you are and that you stand for absolutely nothing until it benefits you. Don't get me wrong, people can change their beliefs on things all the time, but your back and forth is based purely on opportunism, and it's sad. You're literally a political gun control bunny and don't even know it. Right now, there's a culture war against the Second Amendment, which is why I need your help spreading our message to counter their message. You can do this by leaving a comment, sharing this video, and click the bell and subscribe button. Let my voice be your voice, and let them know you want to keep America tactical, because the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed wasn't a suggestion, it was a directive. Also, if you're wondering where to purchase your state-specific Keep America Tactical shirt, click the link under the Keep America Tactical in the description section of this video.